Alrighty guys, we're back for some Dragon mid-range, and this is a March of the Machine, the Aftermath, Standard Brew. We're gonna go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Redcat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to ya. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Okay, what do we got? Into the build here, Zurgo and Ojutai is a 5-mana 4/4 legendary creature orc dragon with flying and haste. It's rocking Jeskai colors up there, so 2, a blue, a red, and a white. Zurgo and Ojutai has hexproof as long as it entered the battlefield this turn. Okay, that could be pretty good. Whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may return one of those dragons to its owner's hand. So you can just return Zurgo and Ojutai back to the hand and then play it out again next turn as a flying haste hexproof dragon, and then continue to see cards off the top and pack your hand full. It's a pretty cool one, isn't it, guys? So yeah, we got 3 of them in here, and we have ways to actually get this down a little bit earlier than turn 5, like Sarkhan, Soul of Flame. This is a 3-mana, 2/4 legendary creature, of course, rocking Is It colors. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Okay, that's pretty good. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, become a copy of it until end of turn, except its name is Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, and it's legendary in addition to its other types. This pairs so well with Zurgo, it's like they were literally made for each other, guys. I think there's going to be insane lines of play. You can pull off a turn 3 Sarkhan and a turn 4 Zurgo, copy Zurgo. I believe you get to keep the Sarkhan on the board with the copied Zurgo because, you know, it keeps the name Sarkhan instead of like copying the name Zurgo. So you get to have both of them flying in as 4/4s in the air on turn 4, and you're drawing for both of their abilities as well. So yeah, I don't know, man. Match made in heaven, huh? So what other dragons do we got in here? 3 Atsushis, because I think the treasures are going to be very important. Also, we have a Plaza of Heroes chilling over here in the mana base as well, so I think like the legendary creatures are going to be important in here too, or the legendary spells I should say, because we do have some planeswalkers. More dragons. Tyrant of Kher Ridges is a 6-mana 4/5 flying, of course. Whenever Tyrant of Kher Ridges enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to any target. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good actually. We played with Tyrant of Kher Ridges in the past, and it's decent, man. Just 4 damage to anything when it comes in, and it's just a really good body on a dragon, you know what I mean? So for 1 red mana, Tyrant of Kher Ridges gets +1/+0 until end of turn, so that can also help us wrap up games quite nicely, huh? Okay, what else do we got packed into the build, guys? For some removal, I'm opting for 2 Flame Blessed Bolts and 2 Play with Fires. This can be any combination of the 2 that you want. You want all 4 Flame Blessed Bolt? Go for it. All 4 Play with Fire? Do that instead, right? You want 3 Play with Fire and 1 Flame Blessed Bolt? Yep, that works too. I'm just going for 2 and 2. I think they're both going to be pretty good in here. I think Flame Blessed Bolt has a lot of targets still, and the Exile really comes in handy often. So Cathartic Pyre is the other removal I opted for, so having that ability to be able to discard could really come in handy when we do have a little bit of reanimation in here with 2 Invoke Justice. This might be pretty greedy, but I want to play this with one card in particular. I'll go over it in just a second. But yeah, Invoke Justice, of course, is a 5-mana sorcery with 4 white pips up there. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield, then distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among any number of creatures and or vehicles target player controls. This happens to be very good when you're playing with cards that have ETBs or haste, right? So bringing back a Zurgo from the grave and plugging all 4 counters onto it, that's an 8/8 flying haste with hexproof because it just entered from the grave, right? So that could help you wrap up the game pretty fast, but also just going Invoke Justice onto a Tyrant of Kher Ridges sounds pretty good too, being able to do that 4 damage. And then sometimes you'll have cards like Bitter Reunion on the board. So I went for all 4 of these. 2-mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Nice. So bottom ability here, you can pay 1 mana, sacrifice Bitter Reunion. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. And that pairs very nicely with a lot of the different dragons in here, especially if it's something simple like you have Sarkhan on turn 4. you play Atsushi for only 3 mana, then you can give it haste with the Bitter Reunion that you played on turn 3. I mean, lines of play like that do exist in this build because of the little bit of ramp we got packed in here. Speaking of ramp, guys, Tablet of Completion is a 2-mana artifact that I'm just going to try to play with a little bit more, just to kind of see how it does, because I thought it was powerful back in the day, but now, like, Reckoner Bankbuster's gone and stuff, and I don't know, I still see some power even outside of an oil deck, so we'll see. So you can tap this, put an oil counter on it. You can tap it to add a colorless, but you can only activate it if Tablet of Completion has 2 or more oil counters on it. So for the first couple turns, you're just putting oil counters onto this, really. It's not doing anything else, so. You can pay 1, tap it, draw a card, activate only if Tablet of Completion has 5 or more oil counters on it. That could really come in handy in the late game, but we're really just looking at it as ramp. So what we're looking at here is if you do go turn 2 tablet, tap it for an oil. On turn 3, tap it for an oil, get your Sarkhan down, right? Then on turn 4, you do have the enough ramp to go right into a turn 4 Tyrant of Kher Ridges, which is pretty good, man, because, yeah, Sarkhan makes it 5, and then Tablet at that point is tapping for a colorless mana, so I don't know, we'll see. Everything else in the 3-mana spot is also ramp. We have a single Celestus. I love the Celestus, man. It's going to do wonders in here. 4 Glittering Stockpiles. This is a 3-mana artifact treasure. You can tap it to add a red mana. Put a stash counter on Glittering Stockpile. By the way, having Celestus and Glittering Stockpile is why I opted for a lot of the 1-mana removal cards, right? Because on turn 3, you can go right into your Glittering Stockpile and then keep it open for a Flame Blessed Bolt to use on the opponent's turn or something. So you can tap this, sacrifice Glittering Stockpile, and add X mana of any one color where X is the number of stash counters on Glittering Stockpile. This is the card I was talking about that I really wanted to play with Invoke Justice. So that's why I'm getting greedy with all 4 of the white pips. I think it's going to be very possible to just have Glittering Stockpile be a cool little ramp card for a few turns, and then eventually tap it, and like maybe at that point it has 3 stash counters on it, and then just add 3 white sources. That sounds really good, doesn't it? So you're immediately probably able to cast the Invoke Justice at that point too. So I really like Glittering Stockpile, like a lot. Also works really well with the Tyrant of Kher Ridges ability too. If you're really late game, you can sacrifice and maybe you have like 5 stash counters on it. You go red and then just buff this +5/+0, right? So sounds pretty cool, huh? Okay, what else do we got packed in here? Some one-of. So we have the Elder Dragon War, works with the dragon theme, and it's pretty good overall. You know, we can discard off of it, acting as a board wipe too, potentially. It's a good card, I promise. Teferi, Who Slows the Sunset. This is one we don't get to see too often, and I'm surprised by it. It's a 4-mana 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker, Teferi. So +1, choose up to 1 target artifact, up to 1 target creature, and up to 1 target land. Untap the chosen permanents you control, tap the chosen permanents you don't control, and then you gain 2 life. Okay. So that works with like everything in here. Being able to untap Tablet of Completion and get more oil counters onto it is pretty good because eventually we're going to be able to draw off of Tablet of Completion, right? Being able to untap a Celestus or a Glittering Stockpile sounds disgusting too. I think this card's going to be a great one of. It's got a -2 here as well. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, and then it's got a -7 here, which I don't think we're going to get to too often. You get an emblem with untap all permanents you control during each opponent's untap step, and you draw a card during each opponent's draw step. So that's the type of emblem that you'd want to have if you're running a bunch of counter spells and stuff anyway. So we're really just looking at that +1 for Teferi in this particular build. Eternal Wanderer here on the top end, another great card to bring back with like Invoke Justice or something. So it's a 6-mana 5 loyalty planeswalker. No more than 1 creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat. That ability is really good. It's got a +1 here. Exile up to 1 target artifact or creature. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. That happens to work well with a lot of different builds that you're going up against, but it also works well with some of your creatures like Tyrant of Kher Ridges, right? Be able to get that ETB through again. So got a 0 here, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with double strike, not bad. And then the -4 is just another board wipe for the deck. So for each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures they control not chosen this way. It's a very good card, guys. Okay, the mana base is an absolute mess, but I promise I thought about it for a bit. If you guys ever want me to go into more detail about mana bases, just let me know in the comments, but we're already 10 minutes in, so we are heavily leaning towards red with this deck, so the 4 mountains is the only basic in here. Other than that, I don't think the mana base is going to hold us up too much. Got a Crucible, Soaring City, and a Seat of the Empire. All the legendary land is going to be pretty important, I would say. Honorable mentions, guys. I'm not going to take too long. I'm just going to bring up that I thought about them for the build. For an Skull Bomb, I thought about a little bit. Invasion of Tarkir, obviously it's a dragon build, right? I thought about Warmonger. I don't think this is the style of build that Warmonger wants to be in. Big Score I thought about. Moonveil region, of course. AO the Dawn Sky is so good, guys. But I don't know about this one. Shivan Devastator I thought about a little bit too. But I don't know. I could see like maybe going up a one of these. Maybe we'll talk more about that in the final thoughts. And then Monumental Facade I thought about for the mana base, but I do think it's going to hold us up at some point. I think like we're already being pretty greedy with the mana overall, so. Okay, guys, is that everything? I hope so. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked and see how we do. All right, guys. What am I expecting from the build? What am I expecting? Let's see the first hand before I decide. Okay. You know, I'm expecting a little bit. I think that we can definitely get the job done. I also think that the opponents are playing really good decks. Let's keep the Flame Blessed Bolt open here. Get the Crucible down immediately. Okay. Well, hopefully this isn't a Spell Pierce, because I really want to get Tablet down. Tablet down early, extra ramp. Especially against, like, Control or something. Like, I'll tell you what, man. Tablet of Completion can do a lot. Sundown Pass, nice. Glittering Stockpile. It's probably going to be like a Make Disappear here. Yeah, Flame Blessed Bolt not doing too much against, like, a Control style deck. But it might not be Control. Bant. Yeah, it's probably like a Traxa or something, right? Maybe. Glittering Stockpile lands. Very nice. I'll keep all this open. Mainly because Glittering Stockpile, at least we still have the Flame Blessed Bolt open here. Okay, Oil Counter. That's ramp complete. And Stockpile for the sake of a stash counter. Okay. Look at that, dude. Turn 4. We have 6 mana available. I don't even know where to begin. Teferi's great. I'd love to get the Eternal Wanderer down, but I mean, come on. That's definitely a counter spell, right? Teferi probably gets countered too, but at least we have 2 open. But at least we'll have 2 open. Or like a Make Disappear or something. Yeah, be careful with the auto tapper, guys. If you're going to get Teferi down, then you definitely want to tap some of your artifacts over there. And just keeping normal mana open's pretty good. Urtai Scorn, okay. Well, we still have Flame Blessed Bolt, but... Bitter Reunion, that's good. That's great, man. We can send one of the bolts. Start with the stockpile, right? More stash counters. Alright, Flame Blessed Bolt is being sent. This looks like a Wandering Emperor turn, huh? For the opponent. Only have 1 mana open. Could just be another Scorn. I doubt it's going to be a Make Disappear after... They didn't have anything on turn 2. We want to go... I don't want to keep the Flame Blessed Bolt open. So this is fine. I want to get another oil counter on the tablet over keeping the Flame Blessed Bolt open. So I feel like this is just a, okay, Syncopate for 2. Oh, okay. Well, they could have syncopated for 3 total, so there wasn't a great way of getting around that, unfortunately. I'm going to do this now so we're not just holding up the opponent's turn the whole time. It's not like we're going to use anything. Okay, 5th mana comes down, and the deck kind of reminds me of the Union of the Third Path lists that we saw an abundance of a few months back. That's what it's reminding me of right now. Jace, wow, okay. Okay. Yeah, get some land. Ooh, Invoke Justice. That's sick, dude. Go Invoke Justice and bring back the Teferi who slows the sunset. Do some untapping. The problem with that is we have no creatures, and I'd love to actually just get some creatures down first. Flame Blessed Bolt doesn't take care of Jace just yet, so maybe we go haste onto... Sorry guys, I'm sorry opponent, yeah, the auto tapper and everything. I am a little concerned about a Spell Pierce. No way. No, Spell Pierce, why? Oh, the Eternal Wanderer would have been so good. We were going to give haste and take out the Jace. Alright, well, we have the Flame Blessed Bolt open. We have Invoke Justice to bring back Eternal Wanderer next turn. And we'll have a bunch of mana open too, because Stockpile is going to be the 4 white pips. Nice, they got that down to 1. I guess we should probably wait to see if they play anything else more important here. Because they might play second Jace. Okay, let's take out that Jace then. Yeah, the Spell Pierce was brutal, but we might be able to get there, man. Land off the top. I might keep this in hand in case we find another Bitter Reunion when it comes time. Okay. 4, 5. Go Eternal Wanderer. Or do we want to go to Fairy? No, we should get a creature. Right? Teferi lets us draw more, potentially. But Eternal Wanderer could be an absolute pain. So could Teferi, technically. I think we just need to get something on the board. Like, we don't want to just keep Invoke Justice.
I'll help any way I can.
Okay, Samurai, obviously.
Thank you for your help.
We could give haste, but I think we hold back for now. I think that this could still be a Wandering Emperor from the opponent. We're going to go Oil Counter on Tablet of Completion. What a first game, guys. Yep, I think holding Mountain back is completely fine. Okay, I'm gonna tap this just for the sake, so I'm not holding up the opponent anymore. Oh, the Bitter Reunion's still gonna hold it up, though. Having to press the button while paying attention here. Wandering Emperor is bad, but I mean, technically... Yeah, our 2/2 still gets around. No, first strike. Yeah, never mind. They'd probably swing it Eternal. So we let that through. Vigilance gets through. You gotta be careful. The Wandering Emperor does give that first strike, so... Okay, Eternal Wanderer down to 2. Yeah, if we see another Bitter Reunion, like, it's not bad. At least it's filter the land and get some card draw. We're almost to the point where we can draw with Tablet. Atsushi's great, man. Let's see, 1, 2. So I guess we do want to play around and make disappear, so we'll get the land down. Keep Tablet open to be able to, I guess we could use... Okay, nice, nice. Exile, right? Get that creature out of there. Maybe keep Atsushi back. I don't mind this. It takes care of their token. Let's see what they end up doing here. Cycle the headquarters. Okay. So at first I was going to give haste with Bitter Reunion and get another... Well, I was going to get another 2/2 and then go for the haste. We could still go for the haste. Nah, I'm gonna hold back. I think there's actually better ways to wrap up a game. And then Tablet of Completion.
Watch out.
It's going to be second Wandering Emperor, potentially. Yeah, Tablet of Completion is going to start being able to draw here pretty well. Atsushi blocks beautifully if they try to take out the Eternal Wanderer next turn. Oh, they go for the plus, huh? Okay. Yep, this will have 5 oil counters on it, so we'll start the drawing process. Oh, exile all creatures. Oh, that's a pain. Luckily, the Eternal... Yeah, we still have our Planeswalkers, and that doesn't have haste, so... Not being able to see anything with Atsushi is pretty bad, though. Okay. Oil counter. Now we're going to get some extra card draw here, hopefully. Ooh. Tyrant. Okay. Probably +1 on the Wanderer again, huh? Get rid of their Samurai. 4 damage to that. Maybe. Let's see if it lands. We could go draw first. No, we can't. No, we can't. We don't have enough mana then. Aw, man. More counter spells? We've been running into a lot. Okay. Syncopate for 2. Yep. Unfortunately. It's only been 2 syncopates. The Spell Pierce was brutal. The Airtie Scorn. Okay, so we can go 2/2, double strike, give haste. Swing at the Eternal Wanderer. They're tapped out now. They power up their 2/2. They take out the Eternal Wanderer. I think we go plus, because I don't think their Incubator's going to get over the Eternal Wanderer here.
I bought us some time.
So, okay. Okay. First of all, Wandering Emperor and Eternal Wanderer being on the board, I feel like I'm mixing up their names a lot. So now they give first strike to it, swing at Wanderer. So we still have a way to exile the token then, because it doesn't get there. So they're going to go another token on the Wandering Emperor then. Ah, that makes sense. So we need to see something off the top that doesn't get countered from the opponent. All right, let's get that draw on Tablet of Completion. Ooh, Tablet of Completion. Not bad. Either way, we lose the Eternal Wanderer next turn now. I guess I'd rather get a creature out of the deal. Right? Because we can exile one of these successfully, and then they power up the other one to 3, and then swing at the Eternal Wanderer and clear it up that way. I think I'd rather get a creature out of the deal. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. And I'll keep this land in hand in case we see another Bitter Reunion. Overall, I don't know who's favored here. This is going to be like one of those games. Let's activate the oil counter now. Yeah, keep the land in hand for now, guys. It's rough that we're losing the Eternal Wanderer here, but it took them 2 Wandering Emperors to get there, so that's not bad. Actually, it took them 2 Wandering Emperors and their incubation token. Cameo. Oh my. That's not one we see very often. Tap. Oh, nice. Doesn't untap next turn. This is going to be tough, man. Now they can just go another 2/2 from the Emperor, too. Successfully swing at face, yep. I'm hoping that the card advantage from Tablet of Completion can pull us back in this. But with 2 Planeswalkers on the board, we don't have a threat to deal with that just yet. Like, something needs to land here. Like, we need to be able to see... Okay, Bitter Reunion. That's good news. We'll ditch the Deserted Beach. Okay, come on. Oh, more land. Oh no. It's like our mono red list yesterday. Crap. Yeah, we need to see more. Just gonna do this now. Okay, guys. Okay. Our second Invoke Justice would be pretty good, but honestly, any of our dragons, I don't know if we're going to be able to actually get it to land. Oh, good target. Good target, opponent. That's very... I wouldn't have thought of that. Not right away, at least. That's a really good target, man. Stop the card advantage. Oh, jeez. How are we going to do this, guys? They're actually keeping a blocker back, too, so they don't lose. So they don't lose anything over here. All right, let's see what we see, man. No more land. Oh, no, guys. I think we're getting a little unlucky. I wonder if at any point... No. This is hexproof indestructible. If we would have kept, like, Plaza of Heroes, I don't think we even had a turn with our Atsushi, did we? Plus, this was Exile, too. So I don't think we could have kept it open. Yeah, more land is rough, man. Keep this as a blocker. We are down to 14. Vigilance. We don't know what's in hand. I guess we attempt the Wandering Emperor swing, and if they block with Samurai, that's actually pretty good. I think the worst thing, I guess a chump would be best for them. So they chump. It's not bad. At least we get something off the board here. Okay. I think that they are heavily favored now after a couple turns of not seeing much. They are targeting our card advantage. Honestly, dude, Tablet of Completion. I'm telling you what, man. I really like it. It really does a lot. I love the early ramp that we got off of it. It's a 5/5. Our best removal for a 5/5 is just our Eternal Wanderer, since it's a token, you know? Alright, let's see it. Glittering Stockpile. That's what we needed to see, right? Alright, so we could keep a blocker back. We are getting pretty low. I mean, we're going to have to. This has Vigilance anyways. Deserted Beach is fine. Glittering Stockpile. We're sticking this out, guys. I think that there's like a very small chance. Plus, it's been such a long game already. It would be silly of me just to concede when they're about to actually get the damage they need through. Yeah, they have 4 cards in hand. They drew a lot of land too, to be fair. Their counter spells landed exactly where they needed to land, though, which is pretty brutal. So take 5 or just chump for the turn. I guess we'll chump for the turn. If we actually had another Flame Blessed Bolt instead of all this extra land, we'd be able to take out the token. So maybe I should have waited. Huh? Yeah. Okay, they're gonna get that. Cameo's Notebook. Spells you cast cost 2 less to cast, and then they can tap it to draw a card. That's sick, dude. That's sick. Props to the opponent's deck for being different, man. We got 2 different decks just head to head right now. Very cool. We could have drawn much better. Oh, buddy, could we have drawn much better. Another Bitter Reunion would be pretty good. You have a lot of land packed in here, though. There we go. Oh my goodness, dude. That took a second, huh? So we can swing in the air, take out the Wandering Emperor. We are at 9. 7 on the board. I don't even think the Zurgo and Ojutai land. Let's see what happens. We have a ton of extra mana, but I don't think it lands. Actually, yeah, Syncopate for anything. They might have... This looks like the kind of deck that runs 3 to 4 Syncopate, right? Devious Cover-Up. Yep, that'll do it, man. So they have 7 on the board, 8 with the Wandering Emperor. So technically, we can't draw off of this yet until we get 1 more, which I'm just going to do. We have nothing to play. So we can draw off of both Tablet of Completions. So what they could do is they could buff with Wandering Emperor, play the 3rd Wandering Emperor, and then buff again for 9 total damage, right? Nope, just going to be 7 this time. Just create another 2/2 then. Playing the long game because why not, right? Plus, they might not have the 3rd Wandering Emperor in hand too. Well, what could we see? What could we see? Our board wipes don't hit the 5/5, but I mean, that would still be a good draw. Oh, yeah, there it is too. Wow. So it hits the 2/2s. We still need an answer for this Samurai though. So I think we start with the draw. Yeah, I love Tablet of Completion. Cathartic Pyre. They dropped the GG. That probably means they have a counterspell in hand, guys. That's usually what that means. Because if they can stop either of these with a counterspell, then it is a GG. They both need to successfully land. Another negate. Pretty brutal deck, opponent. It really is. We'll just go ahead. We'll take out the Wandering Emperor. I mean, if they let us, right? Yep, Urtai Scorn. Oh, buddy. That's scary business. Alright, yeah, hey, good game, opponent. I had fun. I had fun this time around. I think we could have drawn so much better, man, but we could make the argument for dropping a land, too. I think we only have 25 in here, though, because of all the ramp. Wait, did I end up putting 26? Oh, I don't remember. Before we hop into the next one, guys, let me hop over to the deck real quick, just so we can see how much land we actually have over there. But yeah, that was a fun one. You guys have expressed to me plenty of times that you enjoy the longer games too. Sometimes we draw really poorly, but we did have some really good draws, and the opponent just had the counter spells when they needed them. 25 land, yep, that makes sense to me. We have a lot of ramp in here and a lot of things on the top end, so we want to see that mana when we need it, so... Like, when we need 4, we need 4 on the board. Like, we can't be stressing a couple turns about drawing mana, so... With the ramp, with all the top end, and the 25, totally fine. We definitely flooded out there in the late game. You go first, huh? Wow. Good hand. Yeah. I like it, dude. Even if we didn't have the early, I guess... It works out to where we can keep removal open, so we might as well do that, huh? Monastery Swift Spear. Get out of here. Wait. Flame Blessed Bolt. Flame Blessed Bolt. Because Play with Fire can hit face. Or Flame Blessed Bolt should have been saved for a Phoenix check. Maybe I just made a terrible mistake, huh? Watch Phoenix check land on this board next turn. I mean, Phoenix Chick doesn't come back from the grave too often, so... Nice. Adversary. Play with Fire does hit that. Sundown Pass, okay. Bitter Reunion, ditch the deserted beach, I would say. Well, the extra white source could come in handy if we see Invoke. We have our blue sources, we have our red sources. I guess Stormcarved Coast then. The mana base is heavily... Oh my goodness, guys. We just drew more land. Oh no, I'm gonna do this now. Keep Play with Fire open and see what they drop on us, guys. This is a lot of land. So... we could go down to 24, but then, like, it's like I said, we really want to see it when we see it. You keep the Play with Fire for when they power up Mishra's Foundry next turn. That's the name. In the last video, I was like, what the heck is the name of that card? I didn't even realize it in the final thoughts. Ooh, Invasion of Regatha. Very nice. Hey, there we go. Okay, didn't even need the ramp on tablet, so. There we go, guys. Beautiful. Atsushi. Atsushi versus Mono Red is so good. We actually can give it haste too, if I wanted to. Ah! The auto tapper is trying to tap Tablet of Completion when we don't have to. We're not going to give it haste. I don't think we need to. I'm just going to go right into the oil counter. Atsushi's hard for Mono Red to deal with. I very well might be the only red player rocking like the Nahiri's Warcrafting. I never see that card outside of my builds, but honestly, it works so well for me all the time. It cleans up so much. So maybe we'll see it here. Oh, Stoke the Flames, that works for the Atsushi. Yeah, it's not like we played Shieldred. Well, I don't think we need the treasure tokens, huh, guys? Let's see those top two. Glittering Stockpile, one Eternal Wanderer, guys. They dropped the conceit. Really, just based on that? I mean, They didn't know that we just... Oh, Bitter Reunion was a great draw. So hold up, though. Look at this, huh? We had Ramp for Completion, which was very essential for playing our 6-drop on turn 5. So Deserted Beach was going to come down. Eternal Wanderer. Yeah, dude, I'll tell you what. I love Tablet of Completion, man. Maybe the last couple games, maybe it sold some of you guys on the tablet. Maybe. I mean, some of you guys were probably already sold on it anyways, but... I like it. We got to try it more. Like it belongs somewhere, right? I think so. Maybe not as a 4-of all the time, but yeah, like that little bit of extra ramp. Excuse me, guys. We go first. Wow. Okay, let's keep this. Good hand. Flame Blessed Bolt open. Hello, my friend. Forest. Okay. Get on out of here, visitor. I don't want you here. Flame Blessed Bolt has great targets, like Army of Transients, but let's get the blue source down and available. Sarkhan might get picked up right away by like an ossification, but oh, that would have been so great last turn. A little sad now. Yeah, Tablet of Completion right on turn 2 would have been much better than drawing it there. Especially since Tyrant could have come down on turn 4 then. If Sarkhan doesn't get picked up, which it probably does, right? Yeah, ossification. So we still have a turn 4 Atsushi. Sundown Pass. That's great news, because now we don't have to take damage to play the Atsushi. And right after being sold on Tablet of Completion, we're seeing the opposite effect, where if you see it later, now you have that struggle of when do you actually get it onto the board over your other cards and creatures. Okay, ossification number 2. I'm not too concerned about it, man. We just keep slamming good stuff, and if they keep having removal for it, we'll just keep slamming good stuff, you know? Alright, more land. It's not terrible. At least we'll have our turn 6 Tyrant. And Tyrant cleans up a lot in Selesnya Enchantment, so... How far are we, guys? We're 37 minutes in. Okay, this might actually be the last one. Come on, opponent, tap out for me. Okay. 6-4. Sundown Pass. It's more land. Let's do this. Let's do this, guys. They draw here, unfortunately, and they can always play the Catilda back from the grave. But, I mean, we got to take that out, period, right? Alright, we need something, man. Definitely not more land at this point. We don't need 7, we don't need... I mean, there's a really good chance we just draw into some of our ramp, too. So, Army of Transiency, like the Flame Blessed Bolt works really well against that, but... Ossification number 3, take out the Tyrant. Alright, well, next turn it could be the Catilda back from the grave, so some removal. Oh, would have been so good. Well, not using that. I guess we'll play the land. Catilda comes back. We're not out of this, we're not. There's a chance. There's still a lot to see in the build. The Eternal Wanderer, for example. It doesn't actually take care of that because they only have 1 creature. But, but something other than land wouldn't be bad. Oh man, guys. Alright. Again, I know, I sound like a broken record at this point. We only have 25 in here. And this is a mid-range build. And we are trying to ramp into some pretty big things. Could we make the case to go down to 24? I don't think so. Not yet. Not yet. More testing's required. Good game, opponent. Luckily, this ended pretty fast, so that does mean we actually go into the next one as well. Could I have played this one a little better? Was there a better line of play? I think seeing Tablet of Completion for our actual turn 2 would have been insane. Maybe things would have lined up differently, but they had 3 ossifications, man. Just ready to pick up all our big stuff anyways. So I don't know. I think that was probably going to be leaning towards the opponent, even if we didn't see land for like the last, I don't know how many turns that was, 3? 3 or 4 turns? Not really, that's a lot of turns. Maybe it was just the 3. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? It's a fine hand. We have our turn 2, Tablet of Completion, as long as we get our Stormcarved down first. Okay, Glittering Stockpile. We see a dragon in the next 2 turns, then we're going to try the Sarkhan. Soldiers, huh? Been seeing a lot of soldiers. Alright, Tablet is looking pretty slow against soldiers going first, but just going to tap this now. If you guys can't tell, I don't like having to hover over the button on the opponent's turns. One of the reasons I don't enjoy counter spells so much, you know? Well, yeah, you can totally keep this open if you really wanted to do it at the very last moment. Reinforcements, getting set up to buff a wide board state. Oh yeah. Elder Dragon War needs to hit immediately. And if they buff this twice, then it's just a GG. Yeah, if they buff this twice, it's over. Well, not necessarily. Yeah, no. If it's... Well, it depends what they buff with. Okay, Tablet is now ramp. And we're going to get a blocker down with Sarkhan. Maybe that'll bait out like a Brutal Cathar instead of a wide buff. Okay, Harbin. Well, that's 1 buff, not a double buff, so that's good. We're not dead. And Elder Dragon War just being a little bit too powerful here, a little bit scary. Elder Dragon War just being a little bit scary. Alright, 2 damage to everything. Do we swing? Sure. We're at 7. I don't know many hasty things. We should have... No, we're fine. We're fine getting an oil counter on Tablet. Brutal Cathar, sure. Okay, what do we discard here? Oh, Flame Blessed Bolt was a great draw. Let's get rid of second Sarkhan. Let's get rid of our land. I don't think we're going to need it. Not with the Bitter Reunion. There's a good chance we just draw more, too. Land. Yep. Okay. Teferi's good. So we go land. Oil counter. Teferi. We're going to gain life from Teferi, too. +1. Tablet of Completion. Tap down Brutal Cathar. Sure. Untap Sundown Pass. Okay, then we go into Glittering Stockpile and then Flame Blessed Bolt the Cathar. That's brutal, dude. Oh my goodness. Look at how clean that was. Dude, maybe we need a second Teferi. Okay, Mural's pretty good for them. Before Dragon. Take action? Sure. Start with oil counter. Go Bitter Reunion. And then we're gonna untap and draw. And tap down the Mural too. Play with Fire doesn't hit it necessarily. So we're gonna keep a blocker back. Probably swing in the air here. Keep both blockers back then, and then draw. I think that's fine. We'll untap the Sarkhan, which is still a 2/4 then. So if we really needed to block. More life gain too. Like, this is pretty brutal, man. Untap, and then we'll untap the coast. And we'll get that card draw on our turn, because there might be something we play this turn. Like a Bitter Reunion. Beautiful. Like I said, we still play it all out now too, so... because there might still be something to play, like a land. Alright. Play with Fire open now too, because if they do take out the 4/4, or get the Mural above, so now we can block with Dragon and then play with Fire to take care of Mural. Oh, we can't play with Fire, it's not open. Do we still double block? Probably. They take out Sarkhan, probably. They have this open. Yeah, Mural makes it so that way we can't do the play with Fire. So, Maybe we should have just play with fired their face last turn? Maybe. The Teferi life gain is just so brutal, man. Eternal Wanderer is such a good draw, too. We're going to be able to get this down to 1. Man, this game is looking pretty good for us. Take out the Sarkhan. Get another 1/1. Because we'll get to keep our 4/4 flyer, too. Wow. Oh, if the Sarkhan was still on the board, Zurgo would have been crazy. We have 8 there. 10 with the play with fire. It's probably just Eternal Wanderer, though, huh? How you guys feel about that? Oh, maybe I should have... Well, no, that's fine. -4. You get to keep your 1/1. Alright. Swing. 4 in the air. That's brutal, man. That's brutal. Like, Teferi was about to untap our creature and our and a land to have the play with fire, too. GG opponent. That's a great last one, man. That's exactly what the deck was supposed to do. Oh, heck yeah, I had fun. Taking down soldiers is not easy, man, and that Elder Dragon War was absolutely essential there. And so was the Teferi, honestly. Both of our one-ofs really coming into play there, so we got to talk about that for sure. All right, 46 minutes in. Let's go ahead and talk about the build, I suppose. We flooded out pretty good today, but I don't know. I don't know if we want to go down to 24. All right, here's the deck list again, guys. This was a fun one. I would have loved to see Zurgo and Ojutai actually, like, land on the board. Did it today? I don't think it did. Aw, we didn't get to see this. And then in that last game, it was just much better to get the Eternal Wanderer down. The mana base was pretty good overall. If we didn't flood out, I think it was the right combination of everything. It looks like a mess, but it's like I said, I thought about it a good bit, and yeah, I think this is fine. I think the 1 Plaza of Heroes is totally fine too. So here's some thoughts, right? If you're going up against a lot of soldiers or a lot of mono red, Elder Dragon War is going to be really good. So going up a second one is completely fine. It depends what you're seeing. If you're seeing as much soldiers as I'm seeing, yep, Elder Dragon War will help you sometimes, right? Ramping into that is going to be less so important, right? So the only thing that you could do is have a Tablet of Completion on turn 2, tap it on turn 2, tap it on turn 3. So you still won't have the turn 3 Elder Dragon War. The tablet's really in here to have turn 4 or turn 4 5 drops, right? So Teferi was essential, but I think I like the one of. So I would probably drop an Atsushi and go up an Elder Dragon War. And it comes down to what are you seeing? And I think overall Elder Dragon War is going to be completely fine to go up a second one. Drop an Atsushi, second Elder Dragon War. I like the 3 Tyrants. I like the single Eternal Wanderer, but it was pretty good overall, so we could make the argument for the second one, but we're filtering through the deck pretty well with things like Bitter Reunion, extra card draw from Tablet of Completion, so you end up seeing a lot more of your one-ofs regardless because of how much we are filtering. You know, potential filter on the Cathartic Pyre. Didn't get to see Invoke Justice do too much for us today, but I still like having it in here, and I love how it pairs with that Glittering Stockpile. Such a neat little combo, you know what I mean? All right, guys. Honestly, not too much to say. Overall, I'm pleased. I'm a little sad that we flooded out in a lot of those games, and if you end up flooding out a lot too, then go down to 24 and keep the 3 Atsushis. 24, go up the second Elder Dragon War. I think there's a big problem though playing a mid-range deck with only 24, even with the ramp, man. I don't know, it can be pretty tricky sometimes, but I guess 24 could totally work since you have Bitter Reunion to help you filter. I don't know, you really like to see mana. Yeah, 24, I could see it. Like I would usually say like more testing's required, and while I do think that's true, I think you could probably safely drop down to 24. So which one would I drop? Probably the Wastes here. Down to 1 is completely fine. The Pain lands can be a little tricky sometimes, and you're leaning towards red heavily anyways. And if you do need blue or white, then you have the then they're legendary, right? Blue for Sarkhan, blue and white into Teferi, and of course the blue, white, and red in the Zurgo. So the Plaza works well. So I would drop the Adarkar Wastes. down to 24, go up the 4th Elder Dragon War. But if you're not seeing enough land at that point, then keep the 25, I guess. Ah, geez, I don't know. What would you guys add or take out? You could also see dropping one of the Atsushis. I think the 2 is fine regardless, and then going up more early removal too. Again, that kind of depends what you're seeing too. I could see the 2nd Cathartic Pyre being fine. I could see a 3rd Play with Fire or a 3rd Flame Blessed, you know, so. All right, yeah, enough rambling. I guess at this point I just sound like a broken record, huh? Yeah, I love the Glittering Stockpile. I think it's a really neat one, so. All right, guys, if you made it this far into the video, then for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one.